welcome to this Sports Showcase event on Harford TV. I'm Don Morrison. My great pleasure to be at John Carroll High School, the opening girls soccer matchup of the 2025 season, pitting two teams from different conferences. It's the C. Milton Wright Mustangs from the Hatem Division of the Upper Chesapeake Bay Athletic Conference against the John Carroll Patriots from the Interscholastic Athletic Association of Maryland's A Conference. With me, my partner, Ray Ruse. Ray, veteran coach, been into athletics in Harford County forever and ever. It's just exciting to see another season getting all ready to start.
Yes, it is. So the Mustangs, Don, are coming in off of a 12-5 record from last year that saw them go all the way to the 2A state finals before losing to Queen Anne's 2-0. They are coached by Andrew Carroll, who's been a head girls and boys varsity coach for 12 years at 3 schools. He's been at C. Milton Wright since 2020 and has led them to 1 state final, 1 state semifinal, and a division title. Coach Carroll has an overall 118 wins, 57 losses, and 8 ties record. One of those losses came to John Carroll 2 years ago when the Mustangs were shut out by the Patriots 5-0. This C. Milton Wright team is a young team. They're only starting 2 sophomores and 8 juniors. They only have 1 senior in the starting lineup, and that is defender Sophia Hodges. Coach Carroll says he doesn't have that one standout player, but he's got a lot of talent all over the field, and he looks for the Mustangs to try to control the pace and the playing a possession-style game.
Ray, a couple of changes in the lineup. It looks like that Annabelle Latham will be starting. She is a senior for C. Milton, right?
Okay.
So she's a sub coming in. Annabelle was a little bit injured, but she was able to play today. We're of course hearing the folks talking to us in our ear. We're always happy to hear them talk. And also for C. Milton Wright, Mackenzie Millich, who's a senior 4-year player, not playing. She was going to be one of the standout players. She's injured. So we've got 1 senior playing, 1 senior not playing. And C. Milton Wright, as you said, very young,
yes,
coming off the season last year where they lost 10 seniors, a season when they went all the way to the state finals. So we're just hoping that this young team can play up to their capabilities
They're
today.
the kind of program that can withstand that. John Carroll, C. Milton Wright, they have good JVs, they have a good feeder system. So, you know, in the early season, you got to learn and you got to make your mistakes and learn from them. So it'll be very interesting to see what this matchup will be like, because John Carroll is more experienced, and they have played with each other more. But I expect a close game. That 5-0 score surprised me a couple of years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. You don't normally see that kind of a difference. We also don't get to see John Carroll playing against Harford County teams,
right,
quote Harford County teams, meaning Upper Chesapeake teams, very often. So it's a pleasure to be able to see this game. John Carroll, Haley Howell, their coach, she's been here 12 years, English teacher at the school, knows the kids very well. She's had a winning record just about every year. Last year they were 8-5-2. They lost in the conference quarterfinals to Spalding, so they got as far as that in the A conference. And Ray, you know, when we talk about the IAAM, every team in that A division is like the best team in Harford County.
So they do that system in the private school, Don, where you go up to the A division if you do really well. If you get to the bottom of that, you go to the B division. The John Carroll girls have been able to stay in that A division for quite a while now, which shows their success.
Yeah, it does.
But like you said, the top 5 teams in the MIAA or whatever you said is top 10 teams in the state.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Now, it's a little different this year for C. Milton Wright and the Harford County teams, because instead of having 2 divisions, Chesapeake and Susquehanna, we have 3 divisions, the Hatem, the Tidings, and the Susquehanna. So you've got 3 teams or 3 divisions, 3 winners. Then the top team out of those who don't win the league, they play in a round-robin 4-way playoff at the end of the year.
Do you know, you knew this stuff. I think they started this new 3 division in the spring.
They did, yeah, baseball and some of the sports in the spring, I think kind of as a test. I think it's a great idea. When you look at the Chesapeake, which was the upper teams, the better teams, Susquehanna, the lower teams, back in 10 years ago, they used to play a playoff game, and it was almost always a slaughter, Chesapeake defeating, the Susquehanna. Now you've got 3 divisions pretty equal, so it looks like you're going to have a true championship test at the end of the year.
Well, it's definitely good for the championship level. The 5 Cecil County teams are together, so that cuts down on their expenses on travel, but they still encourage all the Harford County teams and Cecil County teams to play each other in non-division. So they still get to play each other, but I think they play each other twice now within their 5-team conference.
That's correct, yeah. The 5 teams in the conference play each other twice, and then they play other teams in the other divisions once each. Bob Schlegel, going all the way back to the 1990s, he came up with the idea of the Upper Chesapeake Bay Athletic Conference, combining Cecil County and Harford County. It's been a real boon to both counties, and I think this little adjustment they're making, I think will make it even better.
I remember that, Don. I remember being up at North Harford High School coaching girls soccer with Tom Berg, and I remember we had a meeting with Bob and all the coaches from North Harford. He went around the entire county and sold everybody on the idea.
They're announcing the teams. Let's give you that starting lineup. Annabelle Lathran, talking now about C. Milton Wright, a senior forward. She'll be starting. Bella Ingualato, sophomore, number 9, starting. Lily Bedelis, the other forward for the C. Milton Wright Mustangs, a junior. Midfield, Ellie Samuels, a sophomore. Laney Gunter, a junior. And Dylan Chenoweth, a junior. They're starting in the midfield. In the defense, it's Sophia Hodges, Nanny Milich, Lauren Acra, and Maddie Malden. The goalie is junior Jill Hatfield. Meantime, John Carroll, they'll start Emma Fuchs and Clara Medore up front. Presley Caslin, Ava Paracchio, Callie Friedel, and Izzy Aguata, senior at midfielder, along with Bella Otone. On defense, Izzy Dobrozowski, Ella Jantz, and Madeline Fleury, with Kelly McGreen, the senior, in the goalie. That's the starting lineup for the John Carroll Patriots.
I wasn't able to get the officials' names, Don, but they're doing a 3-man system. So for those of you that don't know, sometimes it's 2 and you run a sideline each and you try to cover the middle together, or you have a midfield official who's the main official and then the 2 sideline officials. I love this system. It allows you to not miss important calls, having a 3rd official.
Ron Corsi, the athletic director here at John Carroll, been very helpful to us, helping us get here and making us feel very much at home. The principal, Dr. Carl Patton, and Laura Seifert is the assistant athletic director. All 3 made us very comfortable here today. Speaking of comfortable, Ray, it's what, maybe 80 degrees, a little muggy. The rain's going to stay away tonight, we're told, so it should be a great night for soccer.
Yes, it should be. Beautiful complex. And it's great that our kickoff event for the year is soccer and 2 really good teams.
Yeah, the Patriots have played 1 official game. They tied in a 1-1 tie against the B Conference 10 team Mount DeSales. C. Milton Wright, this will be their opening game of the year. Ray, it's always good, I think, to play a very competitive team first, but a team that doesn't count on your record, quote unquote. So though it counts on their overall record, it doesn't count for seeding in terms of, the conference or the state.
The public schools have the open playoff format where everybody makes it now. And John Carroll, they play all their A-division teams, and they'll let things fall there in those games as to whether they make the top 8, which is the quarterfinals.
The John Carroll Patriots dressed in the dark home uniforms. C. Milton Wright Mustangs dressed in the white. We're just about now to have our national anthem. So join us in honoring our country with our nation's national anthem.
Almighty God, Father, we ask for a blessing on all who participate in today's activities. Thank you for bringing us together in your name. Watch over all who play today and all who make this game possible. Thank you for giving us the chance to teach our faith to others by our actions. In Jesus' name, amen. Please remain standing for the playing of our national anthem.
We're back with you here at John Carroll Stadium. It is the It's the John Carroll Patriots playing against the C. Milton Wright Mustangs. And again, Ray, we talked about the fact we don't get to see John Carroll play in the county very much.
Right.
They're playing their IAAM for the girls and their MIA for the boys. So it's a pleasure and a treat for us to get a chance to see John Carroll face off against a top county team in C. Milton Wright.
Well, this is a really good sport to do it in because there's 4 or 5 really strong teams in Harford County, and John Carroll's always strong. Some of the other sports, it's not as easy to find a good matchup in, so I'm glad we picked this one.
Yep. And again, nature gave us a very nice night. It rained last night. It was a horrible evening. And I'm looking at the forecast, and it says, hey, it's going to be a really nice, muggy, nice night. And so we're looking forward to it.
So one thing you have here, Don, is on a turf field, we're looking for more ball control. Not that that's not the game of soccer these days anyhow. The old days when people didn't know a lot about soccer, you had some teams that would try to do some kick and run, and they would, they'd be able to, you know, outrun people and things like that. Now, you don't have that game. You have find your teammate's foot. That's easier to do on turf.
Yeah.
People don't want to lift the ball on turf because then it takes a high bounce and you need to trap it before it hits the ground. So it's kind of ironic that the C. Milton Wright coach says, we hope to control the time of possession and the flow of the play. That's the same exact goal John Carroll has.
Yeah.
So let's see who does that better.
10 graduating seniors off C. Milton Wright's team last year, and their number 1 player coming back, Mackenzie Millich, out injured. So that's got to be a tough thing for Coach Harrell to overcome here against John Carroll.
So John Carroll also is without Piper McHugh, very good player, 3-sport standout, who, talking to Dad and Mom, rolled her ankle recently.
Underway, 40-minute halves. That's the John Carroll Patriots going from right to left across your TV screen. Ray, we didn't mention it, the wind. Yeah, there is a bit of a wind here tonight. That wind seems to be blowing from right to left, favoring John Carroll in this half.
But luckily, they're down in kind of a little bit of a bowl, so let's hope, well, there's a good chance right away.
Yeah, right off the edge of the net on the back side.
So I'm trying to see the formations here, John. You know, one team plays a 4-3-3, and, you know, that's their style for C. Milton Wright. John Carroll is trying a 5 midfield lineup. Very unusual, very sophisticated. The best way for me to describe it is it's constantly changing. Those players become forwards sometimes. Those players become defenders sometimes.
Well, good job by C. Milton Wright. That looked like John Carroll had a really good chance of getting a shot off, but making that great play was Nanny Millich. Nanny is the younger sister, the junior of Mackenzie Millich. They play together, and they play together, as you can imagine, Ray, since they were tiny kids. And Coach Harrell said it is just a pleasure to watch those two playing together. Here come the Patriots now on the attack.
The ball made it through all the way across the field.
That's Bella Otone, number 11, with the ball. Goalie Hatfield comes out, and Ray kicks it away rather than trying to pick it up and then punt it out. She kicked it away.
She was dropped the pass by her defender. So when your defender deliberately passes you a ball as a goalie, you have to use your feet. And it's a new sophistication to soccer, Don. They trust their goalies to have good foot skills.
Izzy Dobruskowski, that's number 14 for the John Carroll Patriots, one of the defenders. She's a key to be watching the entire game. Kelly McGreen. Boy, Ray, what an advantage to have a senior with all that experience as a netminder.
It is great, and I say this all the time. It's a position that takes a lot of bravery, a lot of leadership and toughness, because sometimes you get kicked in the teeth and you got to get back up and still pick the ball up.
Here come the Patriots again on the attack. They've had the ball pretty much in the C. Milton Wright offensive zone or defensive zone. Latone, number 11, gets the ball over, looking to try to get the shot off. Good defensive job. Emma Fuchs looking to try to shoot it, doesn't get it off. Good job by Hatfield to come out and make that save.
It was a nice shot. It was right at the goalie, but it was a very good pass setting up that shot. But it's really kind of hard to score on turf from 30-plus yards.
C. Milton Wright last year went to the state finals losing. Here comes free for the shot, and it's going to be Oh, great ball. Good job by Fuchs. She had an opening, and instead of trying to do something fancy, just sort of walked it in and then batted it right by Hatfield. Never had a chance.
That was kind of a misplay, and she pounced on it, Don.
36-59, the goal by Fuchs, unassisted. Kind of a loose ball picked up by Fuchs.
Yeah.
For the conversion. Here comes the replay. You'll be able to see how Fuchs gets the ball all by herself.
It was just a back header by accident because the defender and the forward were right on it. I like the way Fuchs played that, Don. She just let the ball keep rolling and try to, instead of touching it once, because if you touch it once, the goalie's going to attack you.
Yep.
So the goalie did not know when to come for that ball.
Yeah.
And she just put it right in.
Poor Jill Hatfield. I mean, what do? You know, you move left, you move right, you got somebody coming on you. And again, that goal, Ray, you had this situation like an outfielder when the ball is coming to you, all you got to do is catch it. But it seems like, you know, the pressure when you're not defended is harder than if you got defenders around you. 1-0 John Carroll. 40-minute halves, no overtime. So if we end in a tie, that's what it will be in the regular season. We go, of course, to the shootouts coming for the playoffs.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, Don. I did not expect a goal 3.5 minutes into the game in this game. I thought we'd have a back and forth low-scoring game, but we'll see.
And Ray, like you said, it was kind of a fluke goal in that the header was just
that's a good pass, Don. She needs
coming
to bump
out
this by the
Hatfield.
goalie.
Good job by Hatfield. Miskicks the ball. It's going to go. Looks like it might go out of bounds, and does. Boy, lucky that time for Milton Wright. That ball was there for the taking.
Well, I was impressed with the goalie's speed. She ran past the forward and didn't allow her to get that ball back again.
Header, keeping it out of there. Milton Wright has been on the defensive pretty much this entire game so far.
I think that 5 midfield lineup is really putting a lot of pressure on Milton Wright. A lot of people in the offensive end of the field.
Boy, a lot of credit there to Emma Fuchs. Emma is a East Carolina, headed there next year, the senior, going to East Carolina. That's located in eastern North Carolina.
East Carolina. I'm not the smartest guy, but I think I got that much.
I'm trying to think of the city that it's in, and I can't think of it right now. But she's headed to East Carolina on a soccer deal next year, Emma Fuchs. One of the seniors on this team, and we said they're starting 8 seniors are the John Carroll Patriots.
Don, that's one of those questions I would ask my kids because I always ask where colleges are. And I would say, where's East Carolina University? And my kids would go, East Carolina.
In the eastern part of Carolina.
Okay, I know Dad's dumb, but can you give me more specifics, please?
Somebody in the booth, I'm sure, will know where East Carolina is located. What city? Here come the Patriots on the attack. Coach Haley Howell has her team, looking to try to advance in the IAAM.
Well, you talked about competition, Don, and it matters because what good does it do for John Carroll or Milton Wright to load their non-division schedule up with patsies? I mean, that doesn't make you better.
Yep.
It doesn't even make your subs better. I mean, so be challenged, and then you're ready for that playoff game.
Absolutely, yeah. And the good thing is that, here we go, Greenville, North Carolina, and I should have known that. I've traveled through Greenville on my way down to Troy every, East Carolina. Thank you there, Booth. Well, out of bounds. About 33-26 left here in this first half. The 1 goal scored by John Carroll, an unassisted 36-59 goal by Emma Fuchs.
So, Milton Wright needs to win possession and work on their transition game to get this ball out and not just get it out to where John Carroll controls it again. Get it out to where they can control it. That was an example. That ball needed to go to their teammate and not the John Carroll defense because now John Carroll can possess again.
Boy, and the Patriots just moving the ball so well.
Yes.
Bella Tone, number 11.
Nice shot.
Off the upright. That looked like a football kick that we won't mention any name of kickers who might have missed that.
Yeah, sometimes field goal kickers get misses named after them, so we won't do that to these. That was a very nice shot. She cut back
we
very
won't mention Billy Cundiff's name, will we? Not that we remember that.
He Cundiffed it. Yeah, that's what we've heard.
Yeah.
That young lady bent that ball very well. She just got a little bit too under it and put it to the top bar.
Well, the Mustangs just can't get the ball out of their own defensive end here. They've not had one great offensive possession yet. There's a tone again, taking on 2 players, getting the ball through.
It's going to be really important. That's the second clear that Milton Wright had that went to the other team. If they can get some of these clears to go to their own strikers, then they might get something going.
Madeline Fleury, the number 6 for John Carroll. One of the defenders keeping the ball in the attack zone. Here's Fleury again. Fleury, one of the juniors on this team.
It's a pretty solid throw in. You're always looking for somebody that has that strength to get the ball a good distance.
And accuracy as well.
It's a good job of the right back for Milton Wright to not let her cross that ball, even though John Carroll did earn I think that was Maddie Malden.
Oh, almost slips between Hatfield's legs. That ball hit again by number 2, Fuchs. Well, she is just I can see why East Carolina, located in Greenville, North Carolina, is looking forward to getting her next year.
So I would imagine a good amount of these young ladies on this field can get to the next level, whether it be soccer, lacrosse, another sport. You got a lot of really talented athletes here. I know that the assistant AD that was up here with us earlier helping that you mentioned is also the lacrosse coach for John Carroll. They have a solid team there too.
Here come the Mustangs finally getting the ball in the attack area. John Carroll's defense coming up big.
Whoops. They called that a non-foul and just got their feet tangled up, not deliberate.
The Tone, number 11, who kicked the ball out momentarily. Well, she's putting pressure. This young lady, Bella Atone, now with the ball.
Nice possession passing there. Now this is
Here's
a straight
Fuchs.
shot.
Another goal by Fuchs. Hitting it from about the 8-yard line or about the 18-yard line, as it turns out. Fuchs, a second goal. That one coming at 30-31.
I'll tell you what, Don, that was a great shot, and she used the turf perfectly. I was explaining to a parent earlier that it's hard to lift under the ball on turf, but she used the ground ball.
We'll get a chance to see Fuchs again. Young lady
She
just
cuts back right here, splits the 2 defenders, and then low shot.
Yeah, realizing where Hatfield was going to be. Hatfield is kind of tending toward the left side of the net. Kept it low, kept it where Hatfield couldn't make the play.
So what impressed me equally about that, Don, was the 3 passes before that. They just connected. Boom, 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 touch, cut back, shot.
And that's from experience, as you know, Ray. You just don't pick that up overnight. Getting used to one another.
Yep.
Here comes the Mustangs trying to cut into that 2-0 deficit.
Yeah, it's pretty important that the Mustangs pick it up here and stop the bleeding here a little bit. You don't want to get down 3.
Blake Elliott keeping the ball in the attack zone.
Calling a corner kick.
Yeah, it's going to be the first corner kick we've seen. Ray, a corner kick, for folks who are not accustomed to soccer, it is really an outstanding opportunity to score.
Yes.
Why?
Especially if you have somebody that's good with the airball game. And that's why it's a shame they don't have, like on John Carroll, Piper McHugh is great at jumping up for the air balls. Let's see if Milton Wright has a person. You see him bunching up right now.
Annabelle Latham now to the senior.
You want to get that ball about the...
You see the wind sort of take that and move it out of the way.
It should be a shot, Don.
Just off the side of the foot. Can't get it to stay down.
So did you see where she got that ball? It was literally about the 15-yard line. You want the ball around the 8-yard line because it's too far out of the goalie's comfort zone to come out that far. But if you can get a body or a head on the ball there, you have a pretty good chance of deflecting it to the goal.
Yeah, that was Maddie Malden who wasn't able to convert. And I think that wind had a lot to do with Latham's kick. Started out just where you wanted it to be. By the time the wind got done with it, it was out about, 10 yards. So the wind does play a factor in a lot of games, and especially in the soccer game.
The next time you see that corner flag, you'll see it blowing very much towards the other end of the field.
So John Carroll has the wind at its back here in this first half. They'll turn around in the second half. So if you're the Mustangs, keep it close for the first half. Ray, and as you said, you don't want to get down further. Here's Fuchs again. 1-on-2, keeping it in bounds.
She's a strong player. She should be cutting back. Oh, she just served it.
Oh, nice center.
Wow.
Unable to one-time it. It looked like number 10, that was Callie Friedel, who tried to get the ball on the fly to kick it in the goal, unable to convert it. Well done, though.
It was very well done. People don't realize how hard it is to take a ball out of the air, because that ball was about a foot off the ground, and she one-timed that volley kick and just got under it slightly. I was made to look wrong there. I thought Fuchs was going to cut back, but she saw that girl have a half a step lead and put it right on her foot. So impressive.
It was. Hatfield trying to control it. Almost intercepted. It's again Fuchs who's playing on the defensive side as well as offense. Check it, that wasn't Fuchs that time, but it was number 11, Bella Atone. Bella Atone, we've called her number several times today already. Madeline Fleury with the throw.
How come when the ball goes out of bounds, both teams point their way, even if it's obvious? Ref, in case you didn't see it the way I do, that's our ball.
By the way, you see the different color stripes on the sideline. The blue stripe is the one that we're concerned with.
Yes.
That's the one that applies to soccer. I think the gold is probably lacrosse, the white being football.
Yeah, I think that gold is probably field hockey and lacrosse.
They don't play field hockey on this field, I'm told.
They play it to the one over there, yes.
Yeah. I was surprised at that they, with a turf field like this, of course they have turf fields all over, but they don't play field hockey here.
We got a foul called here, and what happened there was the girl went down, but the referee was waiting to see if they got possession. If they kept possession, he would have let them, but since they didn't, they called the foul. Unlike the Oriole game the other day where I saw the umpire call strike 3 after 5 seconds and delay, that's not the right way to have a delay. This one is.
I'm rooting for the electronic strike zone to come in next year, Ray. Here, the kick from way, way out. It's going to be a little long. That ball was hit well, though.
What are we going to yell at then if they have the electronic strike zone?
Point.
The computer?
Well, yeah. Ava Porovicchio was the young lady who shot that from about, 35 yards out?
Yeah, that was a very powerful strike.
Yeah.
So you see here that the goalie is not taking the kick here. A lot of times the goalies do take the kick, and there's differences in philosophy on that.
Porovicchio keeps it in play.
Possession again.
Friedel with that great play,
wow.
Number 10. That's a tone, gets it back out. Porovicchio, just a bit high. That's 2 that she's hammered just a little bit high.
So I said it was difficult to lift the ball on turf, and it is, but these girls are actually pretty darn strong, and they're lifting it slightly over, so they're going to have to correct their shots a little bit here. It sounds like a weird analogy, but I told my players, aim at the bottom of the crossbar.
And Porovicchio, by the way, number 22, the senior, headed for Nichols State next year. Player down on the field.
We're not going to ask where that is also. We won't ask every college.
Yes, we will. Hey, the booth knows everything. I'm telling you, you put the brain power of that booth together.
I'll tell you.
You couldn't contain it in a little van like that. Now I put the pressure on that. So Nichols State, where is Nichols State?
They make us look smart, but then sometimes they make me feel dumb because they know everything that we don't know.
I know. Oh, well.
So that ball's out of bounds here. You see the little young lady on the sideline being the ball girl. I remember being coaching the middle school kids, and the little sisters and brothers would love to do that job.
Get you right in the game. Fleury again with that throw in.
Oh, should be a goal.
The shot just a bit high. Didn't get it down. I'm told it's in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Where in Louisiana?
Thibodeau.
Yeah, Thibodeau, huh? Thibodeau, Louisiana.
So
down in Ben McDonald country.
Yeah. Down Gatorville, as Ben would say. Got yourself some gators. In that last shot, the Milton Wright defender got away with a slight trip, but since the player didn't fall down and kept going, they didn't call it. Then she put it over the goal. So it's kind of funny. I don't condone flopping, but if she would have gone down there, it would have been a legitimate trip.
Yeah, we've seen soccer players flop once or twice.
Especially foreign soccer players.
And especially the pros. They tend to get hurt terribly and then get up and run away.
People asked me if I flopped when I was a goal scorer. I said, no, I legitimately went down because I was too weak to stay on my feet. So, she lost control of that.
She did, yeah. Got the ball a little bit too far ahead of her. A nice job by Friedel, number 10 for John Carroll. Fuchs now on the pressure.
Don, sometimes people don't know this. They call it the turf monster. We've seen it in football where you've seen players just literally catch their shoes in it and fall. That young lady kind of faked herself out, and then she kind of caught her feet in the turf, and that's why she couldn't follow the ball.
Ball just a little bit long for Lily Bedelis, number 1. Lily in her second year, coming off a year where Bedelis scored 4 goals and 2 assists as a sophomore.
That's outstanding.
Remember, we talked about 10 seniors who graduated off that C. Milton Wright team last year that went all the way to the state finals before losing. You know, you as a coach, you wish there was a way that you could hold on to those players, but they come in cycles.
Well, they do, and it's like you as a teacher. You've had classes come in and you were like, that's the most outstanding, smartest class I've ever seen.
Can we fail them? Can we keep them? No, you can't. Fuchs.
Nice shot again. Look at that.
Oh, boy, what a shot. She had that ball curling, didn't quite get it inside.
Well, the thing is, Don, you're never going to be upset when you get a class that talented, and it leads you to big things. But then you have to replace them.
Yep.
So that's the hard part. If you can just get 10 outstanding players every year, that would solve the problem, right?
Oh, yeah. 12-5 last year were the Mustangs, winning the Chesapeake Division. They won it on tiebreakers. Now they're in the Hatem Division this year. Again, it's the first full year of having that 3 divisions in the UCBAC. We'll see how it works out in the other sports.
I liked it in track and field when my son and I called that. That's a good shot.
Great shot. Turning, hitting it left-footed.
Left-footed volley shot. Extreme level of difficulty. You know, I tell people, okay, bat with your weak side in baseball or softball and hit a great breaking pitch. I mean, a volley kick is one of the highest level of skills. And if she's not left-footed to hit a ball that well like that.
We had a player at Aberdeen back when they won the state title back in the 70s named Roger Gompers, who was a right-handed batter in baseball, but a left-handed pitcher and a left-footed kicker. Boy, was he valuable because he came down that left side and, you know, there was just no stopping him.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of good left-footed kickers. And if you've got one who's ambidextrous, besides that one who can kick with both feet, get that ambidextrous both feet. It's a little joke, fans. Very little joke, I heard the booth say.
Yeah, Don, when you hear crickets when you say a joke, it might not have landed the way you wanted it to.
Oh, nice job by Hatfield coming out and making the save. We're over halfway through the first half. It is a 2-0 lead, as you see, for the John Carroll Patriots. Miss Emma Fuchs with both goals, scoring one at 36:59, the other at 30:03.
Now, we always strive these days. By the time they get to this level of high school, players can use both feet very well. And they're pretty, you know, good at passing with both feet, making moves with both feet.
Right, there was that call again.
Yeah.
Again, the referee was going to let it go, but when John Carroll lost possession, he called the penalty.
And I'm curious to see how this goes because this distance shot has barely sailed over twice.
Yeah, this is.
They're good at this.
This is number 22, Ava Portovicchio.
Nice shot.
Oh,
so
good job by Hatfield. Good, sure hands.
One thing you see here, Don, that they can't get away with as much on a field that's not a football field is the ball was taken at the, say, 30-yard line, and they set the wall up at the 20-yard line. It's a 10-yard difference you're supposed to be. So it's kind of hard not to say you're not 10 yards away when you have yard markers on the field.
Oh, good point.
Oh, soccer players will take every inch you can give them. If it's on a grass field with no marks, they try to get 6 or 7 yards away with their wall until the official moves them back.
Back in the day, of course, when you played on the grass fields, here's a nice cross.
That's a good
Hatfield unable to corral it, but good job by C. Milton Wright to get it out of there. Back to the point about playing on grass fields that got muddy and ruddy.
Yep.
Pass to no one. I'm not sure exactly.
She wanted the teammate to do a backdoor cut.
Yeah.
They just weren't on the same page on that one.
Yeah. Good thought. Telepathy, I guess, not happening there.
Well, now they do that thing on the outdoor grass, Don, where they have the little spray paint cans. And you'll see the officials on a free kick walk off the 10 steps and then draw a line. And that's where the people that are setting up the wall have to go to.
Well, I hope those that mark it comes off. It doesn't
It
stay
does
the whole
eventually,
game.
yeah.
Eventually, wow.
Yeah.
Okay then, I didn't know
Yes.
that.
Modern technology, Don. They invented a lot of stuff since you and I coached.
Yeah, like television, Hatfield.
Oh, she stole that ball.
Oh, Hatfield with the save. Great job trying to pick up a number. That young John Carroll player almost had a goal.
Yeah, she basically stole that ball from the defender.
Yeah, it's number 19. That's a sub. Wasn't one of the starters. So 19 is Emma Keene in the ball game. Almost had a chance to score.
So one thing you're seeing here on John Carroll, Don, is all 10 players, 11, counting the goalie, are very good at passing. So even when the ball is cleared out by Milton Wright to the John Carroll defenders are putting precise passes to their teammates.
And again, that's experience. That's quality, playing a lot of soccer. You don't come up with that overnight. So the Mustangs are a growing team, a team that this year the young people are just going to have to come up and play well.
Good chance here.
Yeah, let's see if they can do something with it.
Nope. So they did what they call switching fields on that last possession, Don. Milton Wright started up the left side of the field. They passed it to the center, and they continued it to the right side of the field where there were less defenders. But John Carroll tracked that play down really quickly.
Alex Thompson, the number 2 for the white-clad Milton Wright Mustangs, who had a chance but unable to convert. Sub coming in.
Well, you heard the saying in all sports, speed kills. And you'll never turn away a bunch of fast players. And the John Carroll was caught like on a 3-on-2, and all of a sudden it became a 3-on-5. That's how quickly they got back.
There's the push, and it will be a penalty. Milton Wright will get the chance to have a free kick.
So what you're looking for here, Don, is you want to serve that ball halfway between the far post and the players on the left side over there, so they can run onto the ball, stay on sides, and hopefully body or head a ball into the goal.
Nanny Milich, the junior, will attempt to make the kick.
That's a good service. Somebody needs to get on. That should be a shot.
There is a shot. Good defensive play by John Carroll. First real offensive thrust we've seen. They had the one corner kick, did Milton Wright. Kelly McGrain, one of the few times we've called her name so far, the goalie for John Carroll.
I may be wrong, but I think she's the daughter of a former soccer friend of mine, Barb McGrain, who was involved with the local youth soccer program for years.
And we talked about, boy, look at the wind
That's a
carry
good
the
punt.
ball. A great punt, and the wind helped it. You can hear the wind, I think, whistling through our field mic. Beautiful night here at John Carroll.
Yep.
Temperature going down into the 70s.
That was all ball there. That looks like a dramatic, possible foul, but that's foot to foot on the ball. One of you goes down. Good enthusiasm on the John Carroll sideline over there. I think that's Coach Haley in the hat over there, the sideline. Tom, when you coached, how much did you sit down?
Well, in baseball, of course, you never sat down. Being a third base coach, you didn't have the luxury of having a coach third base, so you coached third base. So when they were batting, you were, coaching at third base. I never understood it. I used to give a signal where I rubbed, across the letters. That was my home run signal. But I could never get my players.
They didn't listen.
They would strike out. I would say, come on, how can I coach if you won't listen to me? We had one team that, quite honestly, we had trouble getting our signs, so we converted to say, when I wanted to bunt, I said, bunt! It still confuses. They thought I was kidding.
That's one of my old man things, Don.
Here's Fuchs now. Maybe she gets
Another
another
shot.
shot. Hatfield, boy, good job by Hatfield. She's been under pressure. Played a good game as a junior.
So let's see what her punt distance is. She's trying to pooch punt that to that right wing, right midfielder on purpose.
And against the wind, too. She doesn't want to get it real high in the air.
Now this would be a switch fields again. whole far side of the field has a left defender wide open. So if she turns and finds that, she's putting it through here.
Boy, good defensive play by John Carroll.
I'd swing this ball around the left side. Looks like they're going to do that now. Draw this defender. Now see, she put her under pressure, Don, by putting that ball over there when she did. I draw the defender first, then make the pass out there so the person has time to collect it.
That's what you learn from experience. And,
Yep.
you know, it kind of, you can see that up here, but on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Lydia Baumgartner, by the way, that number 4 for John Carroll making that defensive play a moment ago. Good header.
So for the people who don't know, you're not allowed to head the ball in younger youth soccer now. They've kind of outlawed that because they didn't want to have concussion problems and other. And Don, I wish they would have ruled it out because it might have affected my intelligence right now if they would have done that sooner.
That's not true. You're a very intelligent man. I'm saying that the way you wrote it. No, one too many headers. Yeah, that happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be why I don't remember things like I used to. Okay, good job cutting that
Hatfield.
off.
My baseball coach in high school was a little guy, Chuck Marsden, wonderful, wonderful coach. He said when he was playing, his coach used to fluff his uniform up, and his whole goal was to get hit.
Right.
You know, to get on base. You know, crowd the plate, stand over the plate, and get hit.
You see that in the major leagues right now. They wear their shirt loose, and
Yeah.
it hits their jersey, and
Yeah.
they get on base.
Yep.
I would have said, no, that was really my belly. My belly does go out that far. It really did hit me.
And it hurt. Here we go now with 10 minutes coming up on the 10-minute mark.
Okay, he's saying, wait for me to tell you to kick that, I think. But they won't be able to do what they just did there because they had a wide open right defender who was going to take a run at the goal.
Isidore Buskowski, number 14. This time she booms the ball a bit wide.
So, Don, that straight-on kick is tough because the defense is pushing up to push you off sides. And to land that ball straight on between your on-running forwards and the goal is hard to do. When it's that angle cross kick, it's easier because they have an angle to run onto that ball.
Peyton Root, number 15 in the game for John Carroll.
That's a new rule there, Don. The goalie passed it to the defender in the box. In the old days, you had to kick that goal kick outside of the box before somebody could touch it. I think that's been changed in the last 5 to 8 years.
Official found himself in the middle of that scrum. It's not the place I want to be.
You're going to do a drop ball here first. Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, you know what? It's not a free kick. It's kind of like it's their ball. I'm dropping them. You need to let them possess it.
That's an unusual call.
Yes.
You don't see that very often.
Right. It happens sometimes when there's an injury. So the one player got hurt, but the other team did have the possession. So they just drop it to them and say play.
Inside, 9 minutes now left in this first period. It is that 2-0 lead for John Carroll. They scored both their goals before the 30-minute mark, 36:59 and 30:03, both by Emma Fuchs. Emma, the senior, headed for East Carolina in Greensboro, North
You may have
Carolina.
already said this, Don, but I think she's a good athlete in at least one other sport because I recognize that name from last year or the past.
Yeah. Well, she certainly is a great soccer player. You know, quick, strong, aggressive.
One thing that gets me, Don, and it's happening right here, the vice principal of John Carroll reminded me of who he was and said I coached him when he was little.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not that old, or I'm in denial.
Yeah.
You're a grown man with a job, and you're a vice principal.
He's about, what, 60, 55, 60 years old? Oh, sorry, you heard me. Just kidding. There's the corner kick.
So when you coach as long as you and I have done, and you've done this TV, you know a lot of names. And I'm sure it happens to you all the time. You recognize a name. I've already found 3 or 4 people on these teams that are daughters of people that I played soccer with.
Yeah.
People, you've had this too, Don. People you coached are, parents of the kids that you're now doing the games of.
Excuse me, grandparents. When you're an octogenarian, what the heck is that? Oh, 80 years old.
It sounds young to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah. When you're that, you tend to know a lot of. I was thinking, we did our first TV games back in 1994. Say the kid was 18 years old in 94. That's 32 years ago.
Yeah.
Does that make him 50 now? Does that make him like a grandparent now?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Okay, good run here. Nobody's picking her up, but good. It wasn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure
anybody
who
there.
that pass was going to. But give C. Milton Wright a lot of credit. They were down 2-0 at the 30-minute mark, and now here we are inside 7 minutes, and it's still 2-0.
Now, I don't know if I've noticed either team subbing yet, Don.
A couple of times, John Carroll especially. They have a big roster, does John Carroll. C. Milton Wright not nearly as big.
Well, with a young starting lineup, I would imagine that they have a even more inexperienced bench for C. Milton Wright.
Yep. Oh, what a throw-in. Oh, yeah, the wind helped sure, but that throw-in had a lot on it.
Yeah.
We talked about Mackenzie Amilich, the senior, the 4-year starting senior that's out. Not sure how long she's going to be out. All in front of the net. Good job defensively. But that certainly is a big hole. That, you look for experience. Look for people who can lead you, lead the young players. Talking to Coach Carroll, he said the two Millich sisters, when they play together, you can tell they've been playing together since they were little tykes.
Yes. I got to play 1 year of varsity soccer with my brother and I. And, you know, I wish that experience on any siblings to have that opportunity.
Yeah.
In the co-ed sports like swimming, sometimes you get some brother and sister combinations as well.
Younger or older brother? Your
2
brother?
years older.
Yeah.
We were pretty good, Don, and it just shows you an analogy. It's funny. That local paper labeled us the HERS syndrome, and it spread to other news. Now that sounds like a problem. You're the HERS syndrome. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It depends.
Back then it was considered a good thing, but now it sounds like a condition or something.
No, I think it was said, that was our local Aegis newspaper?
They did it. Our school paper started. The Aegis followed it. Mac Lloyd, all the way back to Mac Lloyd days. Remember that?
Very nice.
Mac was a big baseball man. He loved baseball. Did you get to write in the sports department?
Yeah, I wrote, when I was teaching, my part-time job was sports reporter from 73 to 79 maybe. Yeah, something like that.
All sports, or were you assigned to certain ones?
Oh, no, all sports, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we did, that's when swimming and lacrosse, all the sports that Al Seski brought in back in the mid-70s, that's when, you know, Harford County expanded from just basically the soccer, the football, and, you know, field hockey, baseball, that kind of thing, into gymnastics and swimming. Swimming and diving.
Lacrosse,
Lacrosse exactly came in during that time.
Also, a lot of schools came in after that time.
Yeah, there were, 5 schools originally back in the day.
Okay, good possession here. Let's see if she saves this. Kind of got caught between two bodies there.
Coming up on the 4-minute mark, now inside 4 minutes.
Wow, what a flick to herself.
Great job by Callie Friedel, number 10.
She's going to try to put this right down the middle of herself.
Friedel left-footed, here it goes. Oh, great defensive play.
She's got to pick that up, Don, or stop it, because that ball was off of her defender, so good job.
Lauren Acra, who made that good play, number 22, coming in, putting her body at risk between the shot and the goal.
Well, good job by Jill Hatfield coming out and using her feet there, because she kept them from having a corner kick.
Yeah, and it's going to go to C. Milton Wright. It's going to be a goal kick coming up.
Interesting. Not sure what's happening here.
Yeah, the clock is running, and the ball is rolling free out of bounds.
Young lady from John Carroll is running after it. I see what happened. It's a corner kick. So I thought Jill Hatfield got the ball. It must have just slipped over the end line before she struck it.
Here comes the corner kick.
Short ball. Try to do a one-on-one here and then get across.
Plenty of time.
One more pass over this way. Yep.
A little bit wide. Ball hit well, hit nice and low, but still a little bit wide.
Yeah. Keeper knew it was off goal, so she let it go, and now she's doing that.
Madeline Fleury, number 6, with that shot. That's hitting the player in the back. I
Yep.
don't think that's what she
Not what
intended.
was intended there.
Ball goes back over. It's Fleury again with the throw in.
Good job shielding off her person and then getting that ball on the bounce.
Good defensive play again by Acra. Called her name several times, the junior, Lauren Acra, number 22.
Down to 2 minutes left in the half here, Don.
40-minute halves. Sunset occurring. Of course, it's been cloudy all day, so we just think the sun's been out. We just came back from Alaska, and they have, like, it's the time that they have almost 24 hours of sun.
Yeah.
Sun goes down at like midnight and comes up at 2 in the morning. A little disconcerting.
It's very strange. I went there as a 16-year-old because I have family up there. I was telling you about it, and we're out of the campsite in the middle of nowhere, and my dad's going to go to sleep. I'm like, the sun's still up. I can't. It's a very weird sensation. Some people wear the black eye things.
Well, I come back here, and now it's like dark by 8:30 earlier on. And I'm saying, hey, come on. Coming up on the 1 minute mark. Boy, if you're Milton Wright, you desperately want to get a goal here. And especially, even more so, don't want to let John Carroll score. And goals are so hard to come by in soccer.
And Milton Wright's not really getting any pressure on John Carroll. Now, she should run over and pressure her there. It's going to go to the goalie.
Yep. Inside 50 seconds.
So soccer's version of stalling, Don, is possession. So not that they're trying to stall in a non-division game. They want to get another goal. But if this was a division game, you'd see John Carroll at some point in the second half just passing and passing and passing, which they're darn good at.
25 seconds left in this first half. Out of bounds. Clock running at 16:15.
Okay. Good job by the keeper coming out, picking it up.
She's going to just let that clock run on down. 2-1, and that is the end of the half with John Carroll leading by a score of 2-0. Both goals scored by Miss Emma Fuchs. A goal at 36:59 and a goal at 30:03, both unassisted. But both goals done well. But again, Ray, if you're looking at the half, you're Milton Wright, you're Haley Howe, you say, hey, we were down 2-0 at 30-minute mark. We've been dominated, yet we're still only down by 2 goals. So it's sort of like a moral victory, if you will.
Yeah, Haley is happy with her John Carroll team coming out like they did. I think there was a lot of nerves on Milton Wright. Coach Harrell probably had some inexperience, like you talked about, and the nerves. So hopefully they can come out in the second half and feel a little more comfortable.
Ray, thanks for reversing. I got my coaches reversed. Andrew Harrell for Milton Wright and Haley Howe for John Carroll. So that is the half here. We'll have 40 more minutes of action for you. John Carroll versus Milton Wright. It is girls soccer, a non-league game. Don't go away. We'll be right back in just a couple of moments. We're back here at John Carroll School. Ray Ruse, my partner, and I just turning around looking at the food trucks, and I haven't had dinner yet. Ray, I understand your wife is putting you sort of on your own tonight.
Yes, I was told to fend for myself.
Now, if we could yell loud enough, maybe they would hear us and bring us over some of that good food. Yeah, what a wonderful place this is to be, John Carroll. I mean, we're talking to the assistant principal who is announcing here tonight. When you're in a school, the more you can connect with kids in whatever way you're going to do it, the better it is for all concerned.
He's a good announcer, too. I can hear him in the side here.
Yeah. I
like
said
the energy.
And they give you a mic and let you do that? He said they did you too as well. I said, yeah, right, good point.
Yeah, I should have known that I was going to have this job with you one day, Don, because when I was in high school as a student, they made me the high school announcer, and I did football games and basketball games all the way back then.
Wow.
And what I did learn, though, is you have to be neutral as an announcer.
Ooh.
And my high school soccer coach, he had to come up to me in the booth at the football game and say, you can't say good things just about your own team.
Yeah.
You have to say good things about the other team.
He said, we did this, and Joppatown did that. Yeah. Well, very good. And you look at now, all these years later, Look where you are. You're on international TV.
I am.
Yeah.
With the famous Don Morrison.
Well,
That's,
yeah. You get good and bad. You're international TV, but you got to be with old Don. And anyhow, hey, what a game we've had here so far. Really, really impressed with C. Milton Wright, with the fact that even though John Carroll has great passing, great individual effort, everything is good by John Carroll, they're still only down 2-0. This team has come up 30 minutes without allowing the other team to score. And now they can just get a goal. Now, let me give you another thing. John Carroll now, I should say C. Milton Wright, will have the wind at its back in the second half.
So you hate this as a coach. You had the wind in your face the first half, and then it stops.
Yeah.
So you hope that doesn't happen.
Good point.
Because it has slowed down a little bit.
Yeah. We've been waiting the entire half to get the wind behind us. Now the wind, it's like when you're playing golf. Think about it.
Yep.
The wind's in your face. Well, wait till the back nine will be. No, the wind switches.
Yep.
It's always in your face.
So, I mean, soccer's a strange game, Don. John Carroll has really possessed 90% of this ball and had all the chances.
Yeah.
But all it takes is one breakdown. Yep. And let's face it, the second goal that John Carroll scored was a misbounced ball that Fuchs just pounced on and put it in the net. Could be a 1-0 game right now.
Emma Fuchs, the senior headed for East Carolina, scored both goals, one at 36:59, one at 30:03. And we're ready for the second half. Another 40 minutes. This time they switch around. That's C. Milton Wright going from right to left with the wind at their back. The dark-clad John Carroll Patriots going from left to right. All ready for another 40 minutes of exciting action.
So we got the lights coming on and heating up here a little bit, so we're wondering how much we'll need them by the end of the game. But beautiful complex here, Don.
Yeah, we were talking about that. I was looking at the baseball field, and we used to play John Carroll when I was coaching at Aberdeen, and they had, like all of us did, good job coming out and making the save. Their field was, I'm going to use a technical term, crappy. And now you look at it, and it's pristine. It's just beautiful. It's all AstroTurf, even the infield. Just a beautiful, beautiful complex. I can't say enough about the help that Ron Coursey and the principal, Carl Patton, and the assistant AD, Laura Seifert, has done for us in making it possible for Harford TV to be here and bring this game to you.
So let's see if John Carroll can get back to their ground ball control, and let's see if C. Milton Wright can put a little more pressure on them.
Yeah, and the Mustangs can get the ball in the offensive end. That's what you got to do, put some pressure on the goaltender, Kelly McGrain. Kelly's had one of those days where, maybe you could take a nap, perhaps.
Yep.
As a goalie,
got
you
a
like
chance
that.
Here, Don.
But then all of a sudden, oh, that's funny. My son said that to me last night. His daughter was playing volleyball, and she was leading after they lost. And I said, hey, they're leading. Well, of course, they immediately fell behind. He said, you had to say it, didn't you?
It's the superstitions we had that you're not allowed to say they're pitching a no-hitter.
Oh, a no-hitter, no.
To say, yes.
No, how you say it, well, they're yet to get a hit, but you couldn't say no-hitter.
Yep. Yeah, my father and I, we still do that thing where we use reverse psychology. We say our players can't get a hit, and then they get a hit. And we think that we're 100% right, and my wife said, no, you're not. You just think that when it happens once in a while. Yeah. Okay, here we got a nice through pass there.
Yeah, John Carroll on the attack.
Now, the one thing I want to say, Don, is I'm not talking about being dirty. I'm talking about being physical.
Yeah.
One thing that ball possession teams don't like is people, oh, that went right over her.
Yeah, it did.
Let's see if she gets a strike on
this.
Is
this Fuchs again? Oh, good save. Hatfield with the save. That was Fuchs again.
They need to make her go to her outside and go to her left foot. They letting her cut back to her right foot, and that's very dangerous. But back to what I was saying, C. Milton Wright's got to be a little bit tighter on their marking and not let these free passes keep going to the John Carroll players.
Ray, you noticed how we were talking about Hatfield doing little pooch kicks, the goalie back in the first half. Now that the wind is reversed, we've seen her now punching the ball. That ball went out over the 50-yard line.
Yeah, she's taking advantage of it for sure.
That's how serious this wind is here.
Yep.
Doesn't appear to be that much, but
it's enough to affect it for sure. That's a good ball to run on. She's looking for a teammate right down the middle right away.
Fuchs. Fuchs one-on-one.
She's getting her right foot off again.
Oh, good job by Hatfield. Caught it in her fingertips, and then it's almost went by her.
So what I do if I'm a defender, And that wasn't a very good one. I was an offensive player. You got to make Fuchs go to her left foot. You got to see what she has on her left foot, because that right-footed strike she can make is very solid.
Ray, we're across the field from the score. I'm not sure that that's Hatfield still in the net.
I'm not either.
Yeah. She's put
Yeah.
on a top uniform top. We'll try to get her name for you. Hatfield, who played the first half, and we think that might be a different goalkeeper. Okay, yeah, we're told it's number 99 for C. Milton Wright.
Well,
that's Sophia France. So Sophia France has now come in here in the second half. Sophia is a sophomore. Hatfield, of course, was a junior.
That's good coaching on C. Milton Wright. It's a non-division game. Let's give our second goalie some experience before we start going into league play.
Yeah, especially a sophomore goalie. I mean,
tough play.
Coming out, and it goes right by her, but goes, luckily for her, luckily for number 99, France, it goes off the end line. There you see her, number 99.
So that was a good play by the John Carroll striker. But that's a hard ball to tip past the goalie without it going all the way to the end line.
Yeah.
And that's really all you could do. That was Clara Medora for John Carroll.
5 minutes into the second half, that's still 2-0 is their score. It's been that way since the 30-minute mark of the first half.
That's another thing the turf affects, Don, is you push a ball and it just gets away from you. And it makes you have to be an even better dribbler than normal.
Sort of skids along.
Yep.
But turf fields, I mean, anything you can say bad about a turf field, I mean, compared to the grass fields.
It hurts when you fall on it.
Yeah, well, that's true. That is true, so don't fall. That would be
that rug burn that you get, that you notice when you get in the shower later, that doesn't feel too good.
But you think about in the old grass fields where you had clumps and, you talk about the turf monster, that guy would come up and trip you.
The thing about these turfs these days, Don, is they're so deluxe that they don't hurt like the bad turfs did when they first came out with them.
Well, they used to be on solid macadam.
Right.
Now you have a layer of sand beneath them.
Right.
That makes it a much softer. If you walk across this field, if some of the old folks like me haven't had a chance to be out on one of these fields, just get a chance to walk across it. It's like walking on, I don't want to say carpet, but it's walking on something very soft and just feels good on the old feet. I like taking my shoes off and walking barefoot.
My younger days, local coach started the first boys club soccer team. It was original Hartford United, and had a lot of people that were known, the Barger brothers, myself, and others. And we went down and played in an indoor league at Boston Street down on the water. When the Blast first came here, they put the turf straight on concrete. If you got it taken off your feet and you went down, every bone that touched that turf felt it. So these new turfs are much better.
North Hartford was the first school in Hartford County that had a turf field. That was, must have been 20 years ago. But it was good and bad for North Hartford because it was the first generation of turf fields, and it was not, truthfully, very good. And they had to replace it eventually. But now I think just about every field, I think Patterson Mill may have been the last one. Don't know if it has turf yet or not, but most all the schools in the county have turf fields.
I think Joppa Jones just got redone and their logo painted on it, thanks to a friend of mine, Samantha Harris, and the principal, Melissa Williams. So, I mean, now these young players, Don, they're playing club ball and stuff. They're playing on turfs in practice. They're playing on turfs in tournaments.
I mean, the fields are like $1 million to put this field in. And you think, well, gosh, that's so. But, now you can play field hockey, you can play soccer, you can play lacrosse, and game after game you can play right after a rainstorm. It doesn't get muddy. So, yeah, you have to maintain the fields, but still the investment is very wise.
Yes.
Coming up on the 32-minute mark, still that 2-0 score.
Yeah, C. Milton Wright has a chance here if they could break through and get one. This is that point down where the next goal matters so much because 3-0 seems insurmountable in a game like this.
Unlike baseball and some other sports where the twilight really is, very much impactful. Here, it's a little harder to see the ball. The lights have not yet taken effect.
Nice move.
John Carroll with a chance.
So she did not want to pass that ball to her teammate because the teammate was offsides.
Good point.
So that's why she struck the ball for the shot.
Ray, for again, the novices, the offside, how do you get to offside?
So if there's only one defender between you and the goal, there has to be one defender between you and the goal. So if you're behind that person, and maybe even when the ball is played, you're offsides.
Okay.
Whoa, a little
ride the horse there.
Yeah. So I will say this, Don. Teams try to pull you offsides.
Oh, yeah.
So when there's a free kick, they call it stepping up, and a defender or the keeper will yell out a signal, and right when the person's striking the ball. But even on a pass play, you'll see a defender move forward instead of backwards because they know that you're offsides and they want it to be obvious.
Nanny Milich
One bounce.
almost went over the head of the goalkeeper, Kelly McGrain.
Yeah, that will happen on a top spin bounce on turf sometimes. Now, people don't know this, Don, but like when it comes to offsides, you had to be in the play. So you had to be affecting the play.
Yeah.
So the ball is passed to me and you're offsides, but you were an option to pass to, and you made the goalie or defender think I got to mark him too, the official could call offsides. But if the ball is passed where you and I are playing and our right wing is 40 yards to our right and offsides, the official does not have to call offsides because they weren't affecting the play.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those judgment calls that sometimes gets officials in trouble because it is so close.
It's a tough call.
And you know, I'm one of the people that says, just do away with it. Let them cherry pick. Let them go back there and wait. You know, it spreads the field.
That's why some people like indoor soccer. This is a tough play. Square and, great
France,
keeping.
well, driving out and making the stop. The sophomore coming off the bench here in the second half.
That ball, she should send that through to the line. That ball was going to be bumped in by the John Carroll forward. It was coming right to her feet, and the keeper snuffed that right off of her foot.
Lily Bumgardner with that great play number 4 for John Carroll. Again, the Patriots, you look at person for person, they are just so talented. Look at the back pass. Well done.
They're very accurate with their passing.
Bello Tone with that back pass.
See, even the ground balls are very impressive, but they're even making long air passes that are going right to a teammate.
Oh, good interception.
Oh, that was a mistake. This should be a goal here, Don.
1-on-1. Now, what are they calling offside?
They called her offside.
We were just talking about it,
Yep.
and there the offside call. Fortunately for John Carroll, meaning that they didn't get the goal anyhow, that would have been a tough one.
Great job by the side judge calling that.
Yeah, it was.
And though there are 50 John Carroll parents that don't agree with that, John.
And we just had one saying, I'm listening on live stream, so
Yes.
if we get hit from behind, we'll know it was him.
My daughter would not go offsides. What are you talking about? Let her score that goal.
There you hear the wind picking up that had
Yes.
died down for a moment. Now whipping up really good here.
Yeah, those flags that were barely moving at the beginning of this half are really moving now.
That benefits C. Milton Wright because that wind is at their back. Coming up and past now the 28-minute mark. 40-minute halves. Coming out to retrieving the ball, Kelly McGrain.
Yeah, good job there. And Don, I don't want to be redundant, but you know, you've done some things like catching and other things, I think, and I've said it takes a special athlete to be the person that plays goalkeeper, that plays catcher, that plays, you know, nose tackle in football. I mean, these are the grunt job positions that people think they're the ones that just can't use their feet very well, so they turn into goalies. I don't look at it that way. They're the people with great hands and great instincts that can go out there and stop the goals, which I couldn't do.
I think you're in a nice way trying to say you got to be a little crazy.
a tough crazy. Tough crazy. It's kind of like the kid that would volunteer to do pole vault
a shot.
for me.
Oh, good stop, McGrain. C. Milton Wright finally with a chance at a goal. McGrain is right there, though.
If she bobbles that ball, number 25 for C. Milton Wright was right there to pounce on that. So that's why the save is so important.
That's Annabelle Latham, the senior. Annabelle, who was not going to start, she was injured as well, but got well enough to play here tonight. Again, one of only 2 seniors playing for the C. Milton Wright Mustangs in their starting lineup.
Is Fuchs still in the game, Don?
Number 2, I don't.
For John Carroll, she'd be up
see
here.
her. No, I don't see number 2.
So.
Oh yeah, there she is. She's
okay.
She's on the defensive side. She's Fuchs, normally a attack person, now playing well on the defense. Looks like she's going to go out now. Yeah, Fuchs will go sitting down for a while.
Yeah, I think Coach is trying to get some playing time here. And
remember, this is a non-league game. Now, you want to win it, obviously, because you're playing in the county and you're on national TV. It is national TV. It's live. People can watch it in India.
I think we get as many people watching us as ESPN. I'm pretty sure.
As far as I'm concerned, there are.
Yes.
Yep.
So you also need to think about who are you playing next week.
Yeah.
You don't want to get anybody hurt. So good job cutting across the green
Patriots
there.
Looking for the shot. That's a little high. It's well struck.
She hit the net, just the wrong one, Don. I love this facility, Don. I mean,
it just really is.
They have that big net behind the goals and separating the field so the ball doesn't interfere with the other game.
This is the Jerry Gray Memorial Stadium. Now, you don't know who Jerry Gray is or was.
I do, but other people don't.
Well, okay. Jerry Gray played for Notre Dame.
Yes.
And then he was the football coach here for many, many years at John Carroll. And just a great, great coach.
Here's an easy
open
chance.
For the shot.
Other side.
France,
yeah.
no. Goal is scored. Is that Fuchs again?
Number 2.
That is
Emma Fuchs.
That is the hat trick for Emma Fuchs, coming at 24-48. You'll see how she collects this free ball.
That was a beautiful ball.
And there it is. You saw the end of it. And a great chance, or a great try by France, the goalie. She did everything she could, kind of did a split trying to get back to the shot.
She was put in a very bad spot.
And what a shot by Fuchs. You're right.
Yes.
She faked right and then hit it left.
Yes.
Not fair.
That is a goal scorer's dream, to have a ball put on your foot right down the middle like that, where the goalie didn't have time to come out and cut you off. So, goalkeeper didn't have a lot of options there.
24-42, the third goal by Emma Fuchs, young lady who, senior, her last year here. And you remember that, Ray, your senior year, you wanted to do everything right. You wanted your team to be as good as it could be. It was a year you're going to remember the rest of your life. And I think that Miss Fuchs will remember this game against C. Milton Wright, one, because it was on national TV. Yes, it's national TV. It's live streamed. Anybody could watch it, Ray.
Technically, they can, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Not technically, really.
So
we have viewers in California. I made that up. I have no idea.
Let's see if this doesn't take the steam out of the C. Milton Wright, though, here, Don.
Very good point. Yeah,
I hate that part of it. Like, they were fighting for.
Yeah.
I mean, here we are, 16 minutes into the second half, and the other team had gone 50 minutes without scoring.
Yeah, they're going the last 30 minutes and the first 20 minutes. Yeah.
So
good math, by the way.
I can get it right once in a while.
They told me there would be no math in this thing.
Oh, that was a missed trap. So now you got Fuchs with the ball again. She's waiting for her teammate to overlap her. Nice. That's called a nutmeg, Don. You don't like to have to call that, but she put the pass through the defender's leg. Yeah. If you do that on a move or, wow, who is number 4 for John Carroll?
It was Claire Medore, number 21, who made that pass. Number 4 for John Carroll. Lily Baumgartner.
She just showed some great foot skills.
Boy, what great passing.
Good block. Ball had some weird English on that. See, they go right to each other's feet. Now she's going to thread that needle right there.
And did it perfectly.
One more pass, almost. Angle wasn't really there. People don't realize how difficult of a trap that was for the right back there, number 16, Ella Jantz.
Ella Jantz, yeah.
That ball served to her above knee high. She reached out with her foot, gave a little bit with her foot to deaden it so that she could still possess that ball. Unhidden skill that people don't respect.
Yeah. And again, the thing you don't pick up overnight, you play when you're 12 years old, when you're 5 years old.
Flags up. Yeah, in baseball, what do the kids want to do? Batting practice, pitching. They don't want to do fielding drills. They don't want to do this, that. In soccer, they want to dribble. They want to shoot. They don't want to do trapping practices. But trapping is a very, very important part of your team skill.
Coming up on the 22-minute mark left. You said, Ray, the 2-0, yeah, you get a goal, you're right back in the game. Now 3-0, you know, you've got to score a goal quickly to get back in the game.
Good ball to Fuchs.
Fuchs again.
She should strike it right away, but she
what a
cut
play.
back.
Fuchs, and a great defensive play.
Nice save.
Top by France. That defensive play made by 23 Nanny Milic, who stopped the first shot, and then it was France. I'm really impressed with this young lady who came in the second half, Sophia France, as a sophomore.
That was a really good strike on that shot by the left forward, left striker there. And she really snagged that ball well.
Yeah, if I'm the rest of the league, I'm not looking forward to seeing Miss France play here the next, 3 years.
Yeah.
She's shown a lot of skill, and as a sophomore, a lot of guts. A lot of times, younger players, they want to be a little reticent.
So she just played that ball out of bounds. She didn't really see any place to go there. So that was tough on her to be in that position. You'll do a back pass once in a while, but you don't want to do it there with all that.
Number of subs coming in for John Carroll. Again, I look at their rosters. John Carroll has about maybe 20 players on their roster. Milton Wright no more than 15. So, that means a lot as well. And with Milton Wright having Mackenzie Milic, their star senior, being injured, unable to play today.
Yeah, usually a varsity likes to keep between 18 and 22 players. You'll see the rare 24 players, which is a lot to carry. But once you get under 16, it really starts to threaten things with.
Yeah, and think about practice. If you're practicing, 11 on 11, and you only got 16, I think that's 11 on 5. Again, math not being my strong point. But so you need a lot of players, and especially, Ray, young players who want to impress the coach, and, so they're gung-ho about everything. Time you get to be seniors, sometimes, I'm a senior.
So I see 7 practice jerseys over there on the sideline for Milton Wright. So they should have 18. But what we don't know, Don, is the injured player here, not here. Is somebody sick and at home? We don't know all these things.
This is Milton Wright's first official game. They've had some scrimmages. As we mentioned, John Carroll had that one tie earlier in the week. It was a 1-1 tie against Mount DeSale. So it is a very early matchup for both these teams. And as we said many times, a non-league matchup, so it does not count in terms of their conference standings. But you can bet it counts for a lot in terms of, pride.
She's going to cut back and look at the thread right down the middle. Oh, she fooled me. She had a teammate, but I wouldn't be afraid to get it to Fuchs' feet anytime.
Exactly. This Fuchs with the ball. What footwork, huh? It was 2-on-1, and this Fuchs just sort of handled the ball. Is that fair? Does she have like Velcro attached to her shoe?
She's a strong player for sure.
Kind of just sort of stays on her foot.
Well, she's the kind of athlete that ticks you off when you're playing against her because she's not only very skilled, but she fights very hard for the ball.
Yeah.
So when she lost that ball, she fought back immediately, which doesn't allow the other team to clear the ball easily. And now John Carroll is still possessing the ball.
Yeah.
Technically, they just had a throw in for Milton Wright, but it's still deep in their end.
Yep.
Good drop and clear.
Past the halfway mark here of the second half. John Carroll on the attack again.
Nice moves. Try to serve it. Flick.
Oh, and it's knocked in by Fuchs again. Fuchs on the one-timer. What do you call a hat trick +1?
So here's the thing, Don. That was the nice goal, but did you see those moves and the assist?
Yeah, and she hit it a one-timer. I think off her left leg. Watch this, as Ray said, watch the assist and then the great goal
Stutter
scored.
step, quick move, and then pass right away.
Now watch this one-timer.
She just changes the direction slightly.
Wow. That is impressive. 4 goals, all 4 goals scored by the John Carroll Patriots scored by Miss Emma Fuchs. Fuchs, number 2, the senior headed for Greensboro, North Carolina, as we learned today, the East Carolina.
So
Now, here's another. Let's ask them. See how smart they are in the booth. It's the East Carolina Bulldogs, Patriots, Pirates. See how smart they are.
Yeah. They're going to press Google, Don.
Yeah,
they think
no.
They say they're doing
use,
recall.
They don't use Google. They're this smart.
So I'm going to say this as flattering as I can for Fuchs and the team. People are going to look at this tape and go, well, let's just mark Fuchs. Well, here's the thing. Her teammates are setting her up very well, too. And the teamwork and the passing is probably one of the most important things that I'm noticing. Now, is it nice to have a person that can put the ball in the back of the net like that? Absolutely. It's every coach's dream. So she has finished very well. John Carroll is going on to really good things this year. But, Don, give me a month and a half of these younger players learning how to play together for C. Milton Wright, and they're going to be a much stronger team than they're showing right now.
And get Mackenzie Millich back in the lineup, you know, get her off that injury and be able to provide the leadership for them. And again, not taking anything away from the starting goal, Jill Hatfield, but I've been so impressed in the second half with the play of substitute goalie Sophia France. Sophia, just a sophomore.
Don, we've both coached a lot, and we've both had teams. My Ravens were 0-2 last year and struggling, but by the end of the year, they were doing great things. So
your Ravens, you own
they're
them?
mine. Yes,
that would be the Baltimore Ravens.
I haven't told everybody that yet, but
so you're going to win the Super Bowl this year?
I will be in the parade. I hope. I'll be the 1 millionth person on the back row of the sideline of the parade.
So I did not know that you were like the owner and coach and entrepreneur.
No, I'm just a fan. I was. But no, the thing is think about it. You've had teams before where the way you looked in the first third of the season wasn't the way you looked in the last third of the season.
Absolutely, especially when you had young players. They and here's the great thing about C. Milton Wright. It has such a great tradition of winning. It's not like, okay, gosh, we've never won. Here's a team that won the state title back in 2005, going all the way back there. But they won, regional titles, conference titles. Last year got to the state final 2A game, losing to Queen Anne's. Talking to Coach Carroll about that, and he said that still sticks in the craw of all of the players because it was a game that they thought, they were going to win and should have won, and just one of those games that, for whatever reason, you don't. So instead of being the state champion, you're the runner-up.
A bunch of boys that I coached years ago that I was just talking to one of the grandfathers here today because his youngest grandson was playing on John Carroll boys varsity. And the best team doesn't always win. So I remember the 2 back-to-back state championships that C. Milton Wright boys had. The 3 of the 4 years before that, they lost in a penalty kick shootout after they had outplayed the team in possession. So for all we know, Don, that game last year, C. Milton Wright, C. Milton Wright might have been controlling the ball. The other team happened to put one in on a fluke play. And guess what you have to do when you're losing 1-0 in soccer? You have to push people up at the end of the game, and then you give up the second goal, and it looks like a worse game, but it really wasn't.
I'm going to ask this young lady, scorekeeper, you got a new goalie in?
Yes.
Who is that?
Sarah.
Okay, we do have a new goalie in.
For C. Milton?
Yeah, her number is...
Oh, for John Carroll. Yes.
Oh, yeah, her number is 0. Ellie Sarah is in the goal now as they're going to take Kelly McGrain out for the remainder of this game.
You got another good chance here.
A little bit wide. Ellie Sarah is a junior goalkeeper.
So we're down to 14 minutes to go here. You're seeing a lot of substitutions coming in for C. Milton Wright. So this is Coach Harrell's way of saying, I need to get these girls some playing time and let them learn.
Well, you look at this game and you look at the final score, whatever it might be, and you'll say, well, hey, it was a one-sided game. But if you saw it and watched it, you saw a team, C. Milton Wright, that fought hard against a superior John Carroll team, an experienced team with a lot of seniors and a great player by the name of Emma Fuchs.
Well, and it's kind of like the baseball analogy, Don, where you can go 4 for 4 when you get, 4 bloop hits, In another game, you can go over 4 when you hit 4 line drives. Well, Emma Fuchs got 4 line drive hits in this game.
Oh, great save. Making the save is France. That ball popped up. She stuck right with it. Wow.
That ball would have dribbled over me and been in the
I
back
would
of
have
the
gotten
net.
out of the way. Are you kidding me? That's going too fast. Let it go.
So she's got a decent foot there, put that to the 44-yard line.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and while I thought it was Hatfield who was doing the pooch kicks early, this is again Franz who's hitting the ball, so hard. Sophia Franz we're talking about. So, she just has a lot of talent, does Sophia Franz.
So, Don, is this our John Carroll, one John Carroll in this game on the schedule this year?
It is, and partially because it's the only time that they play a
Offsides.
Harford County team.
Right.
We're obligated to have 2 Harford County teams, and so when they play the IAAM schools from Baltimore City, Baltimore County, we can't do those because they aren't 2 Harford teams.
We did originally have a field hockey game, but that was switched. So
yeah, and a good thing we switched because they ended up canceling that game tomorrow. It's not going to be played. We were going to do the Saturday field hockey game. So we really love having John Carroll on our TV screens as much as possible.
yes, I think their field hockey program is strong too.
Oh, it is.
And I know that last year they won the softball championship in the A division because a girl that I coached in swimming, Julia Wilkes, she was the pitcher. And I was very glad to see that because they had lost the 3 previous years by 1 run.
Huh.
I almost said 1 point and sound like the Orioles new coach, but they lost by 1 run. So, they've had a very strong Sherry, I think her last name is the coach of the softball program here, and they're very strong.
Sherry Billings?
Yes. And I think, no, not Billings, it's Stravinsky was her name before, but she was outstanding. I think their football teams here is good, pretty strong also. Good
Again,
job running on this ball.
Normally they do play Bel-Air 1 football game against a county team, not this year. A little
Nice
bit high
strike.
and wide, hit well, but a bit strong. Coming up on the 10-minute mark left in this contest, all intents and purposes. Let me tell you a story. We were doing a game at Edgewood, and Simone Wright was playing Edgewood, and Edgewood was down by like 3 touchdowns, and a few minutes left in the game, and I made the classic announcer error by saying, well, it looks like, this game,
I remember
they
that.
recovered a fumble, scored on a kickoff return, ended up winning the game.
Yeah, I thought that last year when my Ravens were winning by 14 in the 4th quarter against the Raiders, and then they lost.
Yeah.
So never say never, I guess they say.
Yeah.
Back to my analogy about these teams, Don. These are 2 schools that are good in everything. Like, Simone Wright is highly competitive in every sport, male and female, and so is John Carroll.
And go back, Milton Wright used to be a very large school. It's now a 2A school, which means it's a medium-sized school. So they don't have the student draw that they once did.
Right. Yet they have a good field hockey team. They have a good soccer team. They have good football. They have great cross country. Their swim team is outstanding. Name it, they're competitive.
A lot of it has to do with the rec programs, feeding you kids that are ready to play, and the coaching staff.
Yeah, the feeder program matters. I mean, I know schools that don't have great parks and rec, and the high school coaches do the best job they can. These high school coaches at these 2 schools are not only outstanding coaches, staffs, but they're getting experienced players coming in. Oh, she could run right through this, Don.
Is it a goal?
Yes.
I believe it is for the Milton Wright Mustangs at 8:56 left in the game. The Mustangs have broken through to score. It looks like that's number
3 or 2.
2. Let's see if we can get another look at who that was that scored.
So this is another, I told you about before, but the bounces, and you don't like the ball to hit. That ball was let to bounce, and she ran it by.
Here is the replay. You'll get to see. It looked like
I think it's 3.
that ball just cruises in past the new goalie. If it's number 3, that would be Blake Elliott. I believe it is number 3, so give Elliott the credit for the goal.
Great job the way she fought through that. It was a 50-50 battle on a bouncing ball, and the defender has a disadvantage here because you don't want to foul, but the offensive player can take the philosophy of, hey, I'm fighting hard for this ball. They call foul against me. They have a 100-yard free kick. I always told my offensive players to be very aggressive. That should be a foul.
Yep, and it's going to be called.
Kind of got shoved there, but she went over and shook her hand.
So if you are C. Milton Wright, I mean, okay, 4-1, yeah, you've got a chance you can come back. Probably not. I mean, it's going to be a difficult road to hoe, but it shows you were still, in the game, still playing hard, still trying the very best that you could.
So it looks like the flags are lowering a little bit more again. They're moving a little bit, but not as much.
Yeah, the wind maybe dried down a bit.
So to your point, Don, you can't have as much patience if you're a C. Milton right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put together 15 passes. You have to serve some long balls into the other end and run on to them. Whereas John Carroll, if they get the ball, they're going to try to possess the ball.
I think, if I'm looking at the number correctly, no, it's number 17. I was thinking maybe that Fuchs had come back in the game, but 17 is in the game now. That's Ella Hansen, the senior.
Good ball, good ball. She's going to try to flick this across to her teammates. Oh, my.
Boy, that was an impossible angle.
Yeah.
That's where you needed a right-footed curl to bring it in.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody there to convert.
Yeah, that ball's tough, Don. It's hard just to gather it as I told you, the ball's rolling away from you. But you don't want to lift it that high and that far. You got to kind of just chip it to the middle and hope that your forwards can run onto it with a head ball. We are getting to where the lights are very beneficial now, Don.
Yeah,
so,
they're beginning to take effect.
Well, it's not like a baseball game looking up into the lights or catching a punt and hoping it's, the ball rarely goes high enough in soccer to be affected by that. The sun, however, when you're a goalkeeper, that's part of the decision on which half you decide which goal to defend. It looks like they earned himself a corner kick here, Don.
Good defensive play by Kat Duraka,
Mm-hmm.
number 10, who was able to knock that ball out of
So
bounds.
you're seeing a player come all the way across the field. This is our version of specialists in soccer. This person is good at serving the ball across the goal. She's right-footed, so she's going to put a ball towards the goal that's going to swing back. And there it is.
Callie Friedel.
Nice save in the goal by a defender.
Good job. The ball was right in the goal mouth.
The ball would have dribbled into the goal if she hadn't cleared it, that's for sure.
Another corner kick coming up.
Sometimes you do what we call an in-swinger. So now if she's right-footed, nope, it's another, she's going to try to do a short ball. Now the defender came over and covered the short ball, so now she switched it to where she can do an in-swinger. Her ball should have a left hook. Nice head ball
Nice
from
head
way out
ball,
there.
yeah. Didn't get it to go in. It looked like number 4, Lily Baumgartner, who put the head on the ball.
I actually scored one down from the 18-yard line, and when you have to head the ball in from that far out, you got to put a little bit more on it.
Uh-huh.
My head was spinning a little bit, you know.
You have a hard head, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
You'd rather get the ones that come across and you just have to change the direction and not put your body behind it. Kind of like I'm always amazed by these center back defenders who take the goalie's punt 60 yards out of the air and head it back. That's the ones you got to worry about, like the concussions and the other things.
Yeah.
I just trapped that with my body instead of headballing it.
What do they say about football being a collision sport, soccer being a contact sport? Like people, soccer, it's a non-contact sport. Yeah, right. Play the game, watch the game. You'll see it is a contact sport. Football, where they have lots of pads,
Yes.
Collision sport.
So, that got through. So, Don, I'll defend that. Yes, football is a violent sport, but to your point, it has all that equipment. There are more broken legs and torn knees and stuff in soccer than there are in football.
Yep.
Because all you're wearing is that little shin pad.
Oh my, a double team.
And
knocked
the
down.
turf monster in soccer can really get you when you try to plant and turn.
And the other thing, you're looking down at the ball if you're
Yes.
a soccer player, you know, and so you're not seeing players coming at you. Plus, you're jumping up for the header, two people, you know, jumping together.
Yep.
You oftentimes see that kind of collision. Just a
Well-
very impressive sport. A lot of people say, well, hey, they don't use their hands. It's not a, you know, real complete sport. But, you know.
That's why I would argue that it's even harder.
Yeah.
Because it's the only sport that you mostly rely on your feet.
Mm-hmm.
And the skill it takes to control this ball.
Great athletes.
Yes.
You know, with any sport, field hockey, I've become so impressed as I watch more field hockey with how you can control that ball off that, you know, curved stick
Yes.
while, you know, looking down but seeing where you want to throw and want to hit the ball.
Well, the other thing, Don, is the stamina this sport takes. I mean, the amount of running these girls are doing, there's probably 5 girls on each team that haven't come out of this game.
Yeah.
And they are, the average, they say, I don't have the exact stats, but a center midfielder can run up to 9 or 10 miles a game.
Whoa.
You know, it's crazy the amount of movement they do.
I haven't run 9 or 10 miles in my life.
I can't walk 9 or 10
What are you
miles.
talking about? I always tell my track friends that, you know, running is good if you're running away from a big man who has
Yes.
evil intentions,
Yes.
or you're running to get like a banana milkshake.
Yeah, my wife says she'll run away from somebody with a weapon or a wild animal.
France
What a
cannot
shot.
stop it.
What a shot.
Who gets the goal? Who was the goal?
Ross.
What number? Number 15? I'm sorry, what number?
18.
Number 18, and thank you. The goal was scored by Danica Ross. Here's Danica Ross, number 18, with the goal. Oh, what a shot.
Don, that's like a top 10 sports highlight shot right there.
That ball was hit. Danica Ross in the ball game now has the 5th goal of the game, and it's now 5-1.
Don, that's where she like looks over the coach and like, maybe I should play more.
Yeah. Danica Ross, a senior midfielder.
Hey, that's how you earn your time.
Yeah.
Plays like that.
And that wasn't a fluke goal at all. That pole was stung.
Yes.
And again, if you're goalie Sophia Franz, you had no chance at all. Made an all-out dive for it. Unable to stop it. 2 goals in the first half. It was 2-0 at the half. 3 goals here in the second half. 1 for the Mustangs.
And Fuchs gets 2 goals each half, and then Ross puts in that brilliant shot there. So both goalkeepers for Milton Wright, all 5 goals were beautiful goals.
Nice.
You know.
Yeah. And of course, John Carroll has been in control most of the game. They've been on offense. They've, put pressure on the goalie and the defense throughout. Keep
So
reminding you
dropped.
that this is a very veteran John Carroll team, loaded with seniors. Coming off a championship year. Milton Wright losing 10 seniors off last year's team, and one of their great senior leaders, Mackenzie Milich, out today injured. So no excuses at all.
No.
It's just a very young team that's learning. France,
That's another goal.
another goal. That ball hit,
Number 5.
yeah, it looks like number 5. Izzy Argueta. Izzy Argueta with the goal. We'll see how she hits this ball. Just hits the top. Boom from inside that 20, making it a 30-yard shot just over the outstretched hand of Sophia France and the goal.
So remember all those shots in the first half, Don, that John Carroll was just barely sailing over the goal? That was a beautiful shot just under the bar. And that's where the difference between male and female goalkeepers is, because the goal height is the same, but an average male goalkeeper could reach up for that ball and block it. So that's why it might take a little bit different corner shot to get in.
What's it, like 9 feet, the top bar?
So I think it's 8 feet, and but I could be wrong. But the main thing here is that was in the one spot that the goalie could not reach up and get.
Yeah.
If that's 2 inches higher, it catches enough crossbar to where it comes back out.
Or 2 inches lower, and she
Then
might be able to.
Then she blocks it and knocks it over the goal. So that was virtually the most perfect spot that she could put that height-wise.
So the 2 goals we've seen here late in the game have been just impressive, as you said,
Yes.
Sports Center caliber type, type goals. Coming up on the end of this game with 9 seconds left, and the John Carroll Patriots are going to go to 1-0-1. C. Milton Wright will drop their first game of the year at 0-1. Great display of talent and perseverance and everything you want to say about John Carroll. 2 goals in the first half by Emma Fuchs. She got 2 more in the second half for a hat trick +1. And then Elliott got a goal for C. Milton Wright, made it 4-1. And then 2 closing goals, one by Danica Ross and the other by, I'm going to get her name correctly here, Argueta.
Argueta, yeah.
Yep.
So, Don, one thing I like here is the camera caught it at the end of the game. The entire C. Milton Wright team and the bench went to their goalie and shook her hand and likes to say, good game, shake it off. Nothing you could do about that.
Izzy Argueta, I wanted to make sure I gave Izzy the credit. She comes in and makes that goal. So, Ray, that's our final score, 6-1. We anticipated that John Carroll would be a strong team with that great veteran presence they had. How impressed. What can you say about Miss Emma Fuchs? 4 goals, all beautiful, all well done. And not only did she score the goals, but she also worked hard for her team.
Every year I coached, I wanted that player, that one player with that it factor, and she has that it factor. She has great moves. She's great at possessing the ball and trapping it and using her body to shield off and earn her shots.
Yep.
And then when she gets to the shot, wow, her
Finishes.
striking ability is amazing.
Right foot, left foot.
Yes.
Yeah, she's got it all. Headed for East Carolina and Greensboro, North Carolina.
We learned something today, Don.
We did. Well, we
Yes.
hope you've enjoyed this contest. The John Carroll Patriots winning by a final score, as you see, of 6-1 over the C. Milton Wright Mustangs. My partner, Ray Roos, Don Morrison, we thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned all year long for high school sports on the Harford TV. Good night, everyone.